So, we are here today to talk about harnessing the power of Google and Apple business profiles to build your client journey. And it's something I've been using Google for a really, really long time, but I just discovered Apple Business last year. So, yeah, Louise kindly asked me to come on and have a chat with everybody and just run through. Hopefully, it's not going to be death by PowerPoint, but there's quite a lot of information that I kind of want to share with everybody because it is quite important. So quickly, in case you don't know who I am, Sue Davies, I am host of Inspiring Salon Professionals podcast, and I have been in industry for quite a very long time, over 20 years. And prior to that was in a lot of other corporate kind of roles as well, and a lot of customer service and hospitality and all that kind of stuff. So I have quite a long history of being client serving. And yeah, it's kind of why like now I do still have a practice and I still work very, very part-time in that, just so I kind of keep my hand in more than anything. But I am now mainly focusing on consultancy and mentoring around client journey and client experience. So we are going to today be looking, I have this whole system that I have set up called the Crystal System. And it is about kind of shining a light on all the wonderful parts of your business. And this is like my touchstone wheel. And you'll see we have discovery, welcome, ambience, departure, and reconnects. And these are really like the 5 key things that we want to keep clients coming through our world. And today we're going to be looking at discovery. And yeah, just basically how people find you and how we can use Google and Apple to help that process. As part of my Crystal System, I also have all these wonderful elements, which there's an awful lot of them, and we'll be on for a moment so you can kind of see how they work. But today we're going to be working on and looking at just 3 elements, which is F, A, and C from facets. We're going to be looking at how we get people to find us, get them to act, and get them to connect with us, because it's without those bits, we have no business. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. And hopefully you're going to find some new information. The find bit is all about, and this isn't any kind of judgment on where you currently host your business and where you connect with all your clients, but there's so many different ways that we can do that in today's world. And whether that's on Facebook, Instagram, and that kind of social media platform, or whether we use things like LinkedIn, if we're going to go for more of a corporate kind of demographic. But there's also search engines like Google, YouTube, and Pinterest that we can utilize. And that's kind of like, and the Google bit and the Apple bit is what we're going to be focusing on today. But also you can, of course, look at local resources like collaborative working with businesses around you, going to networking events, speaking to schools and stuff, and trying to get in with PTAs and that kind of thing, depending on who your demographic is. We also will be looking at how we act, or how we ask our clients to act. And part of what we're going to look at today is trying to find something that's easy for them to use, somewhere you can show your reviews and testimonials, and also somewhere that gives matches their needs with regard to what it is that they are coming to you for. So mostly we all know we want to kind of like give them a solution to the problems that they have, and that's kind of where the platforms we're going to talk about today give you a little bit of extra a bit of an extra sort of push towards the kind of people that you want to be able to get into your work. And then finally, part of what happens with Google and Apple is it gives them a different way of connecting with you, and it allows them to connect in a slightly different way that it's usually quite instant, which is what I love about it. So we have to consider at all times with our clients how easy we are to connect with. And one of the things I will share with you is one of the things in my business that I do is this thing called the Salon Inspector, where I go into I go onto their online world of a salon business and start going through their processes and how connectable they are, how engaging they are, how easy they are to find, and all that kind of stuff. And I just did one with a salon who's actually an award-winning salon, done really, really amazingly well, has a fantastic venue. And when I started the process, one of the first things I did was go to their contact us page on their website, and I'm still waiting for an answer. And it's been months. And they know this now because we've gone through the process, but they had a disconnect in their system. And although they thought they had everything set, when I emailed, I could get no response from them. And so making sure that everything works in your system is really, really important. And I think when you use stuff like Google and Apple, it can kind of avoid those areas, because this is the first place people are going to find you if you are using it, if you're using it properly. So getting found. And if you have your phones, a little bit of interaction, get your phone out. And I mean, I've put here relaxing treatment near me, but getting found is a really, really difficult thing. And if you aren't using your website or Google appropriately, you may be more difficult to find. So if you just go onto your search platform on your phone and just put in whatever you specialize in, whatever it is that you're promoting at the moment, and put that in near me, do you come up?
Do we have to take into consideration if we've searched for ourselves beforehand?
Well, yes, there is that. Incognito windows can be very helpful.
We kind of want to search on somebody else's phone.
Yeah, ideally. It is difficult, isn't it? Because the thing, but this is the wonderful thing with algorithms, isn't it? Is that Google recognizes that you may have searched that previously. So if you, and it may be something, just as an example today, just to see where you come up. But do this on a laptop or a PC and actually go incognito and see where you rank, because it's really quite surprising sometimes that you don't come up as highly as you think you might. But this is a really good place to start, just to see where you do come up. So if you can do this, like this is just an example now, but do the incognito one and do that as soon as possible after taking part today, because then you've got your kind of like your ground zero from where you start from, so that if you start making adjustments, you can see the value of the changes as you go through. So firstly, and I'm going to run through these a little bit. So you've got Google, and I haven't updated this to say Apple as well, because at the moment that's still quite a new thing. But Google, firstly, are you there? Do you show up on a map? If you don't, then you need to really consider that you need to get your Google profile, like just a regular Google profile, and go to your dashboard, and then you can go through the stages that will come shortly. But Google is the prime place where you need to be found. So is everybody, if we could just have like a, in the chat box, if you want to put in the chat box, whether or not you are showing up and whether you're happy with where you're showing up.
So this is Ildiko here. Can I just ask you a question?
Yeah,
I do come up, but like 7th.
Okay.
Which is not good, and it's not coming up with the pin on the map, but it's just coming up with the listings below.
Okay, so have you got a Google business profile already?
I have.
Okay, so then maybe you just need to do some adjustments to it, and you can, because you can reposition yourself, and you have to ask Google to reposition you if your pin isn't showing, but that is something that Google can help you with.
Even if I can't have my address on my profile because I'm mobile.
Oh, yeah.
I've had problems with this, and I had to take my address since we've relocated. And it's just
you can have, it might be worth reaching out to Google, to their customer services, because there was a point when I had a business that was kind of national, and they were able to help us with that. So if you have a business that doesn't have a fixed location, they can sometimes help you. So it might be worth just reaching out to them and asking. But obviously, yeah, if you don't want to put your home address on there, then
I can't at the moment. So so they told me it's only service areas I can add.
Yeah.
But they not work as brilliantly as when you have got your address put in. I don't think.
But ask them, because now I had a problem with it, because the business that I had at the time, we had one venue with me and one venue with someone else, because we were a partnership, and so we had this real confusion over where it was going to be. And they do have an option for doing something that is like a non-fixed place. But I'd have a chat with them, because it was quite, in the end, we decided to just leave it as my address, because it was more complex and quite a difficult thing to achieve at that time. So we decided to leave it. But it might be worth having a chat with them and just asking them how that can work for you.
Okay.
They have changed it recently with, I think what they're trying to do is make it more secure. And where you've got businesses which don't have an address, nobody's going to be looking for the address. So therefore they're saying, why would you need to be on there?
Yeah.
That was the feedback that I got. Yeah.
That's not very helpful, is it?
It's a bit
No.
frustrating, but I'm sure Sue's got an answer for you on
I
the,
don't know if I have.
I was going to say on the Apple side, or even just.
Yeah, I don't know. Apple, I'm still kind of getting to grips with at the moment with Apple. But their location stuff isn't as demanding as Google. When I was trying to move one of my Google profiles to where I live now, I did have the most hysterical thing, and they were asking me to do a live video where it gave me a minute to do what they required me to do. But I've got quite a large plot that we sit on, and I have got a street sign at the end of my lane, which is where we are. But I had to go and have a video of that, and then literally run back into my house, and then run through my house into the office. And I had to then video footage of like a business statement and stuff. I mean, it was mad, and I couldn't get it in less than a couple of minutes because of the size of where I live. And in the end, this one of the reasons we gave up with that one and just let that profile go, because it just was too complex to move it. So we just started a new one. And Google can be really unhelpful. And maybe for mobile businesses, it is less functional.
Yeah, I agree on that. I used to have a fixed place before, and it worked great.
Yeah.
But since we've moved, I don't have a fixed place, so I can see it's not doing as well as it used to. But that's fine, because hopefully in the next couple of months again, I'll be able to work from home, and I can then.
But also, as we go through, and maybe there's some bits that you might pick up that maybe because your profile's still there, that you can kind of still utilize the profile. Have you got the profile going at all?
Yeah, I do.
So there's some bits that you might be able to do that may help your optimization kind of thing.
Yeah, and anyway, as I say, for future, it will be helpful for me once I have a fixed place again.
And I can see Mandy said that she's had her profile taken down, which is not helpful.
Same for me.
Yeah. Was that because of the location thing, Mandy?
Yeah.
I think so, but it was probably about a year ago now. And I didn't get much of an explanation, and they didn't even say they were going to take it down. It was, I think, a couple of months before I realised, and I couldn't ever get like a email address or a phone number to contact them, and I spent ages trying to sort it out, and I just didn't get anywhere, so I've just left it.
I have managed to have a few conversations with them. And I've had and if you can get through to them, I can't remember how I did it now, but I think I must have just Googled Google customer service or something. I'm not quite sure how I did it because it was a while ago, but I did get on the phone to them, and I did get email responses, and they were actually quite helpful, but just unable to support what it was we needed to do at that time. But anyway,
because I have moved house since the last time I ever updated it, so
it may well be worth having a look back at it then, because a lot of the problems I had were because I moved and I was trying to move the business, and a lot of the problems came about from that, which they then couldn't assist me with. But because it just got very confusing, and we ended up with about 4 profiles for the same business, which was not helpful.
Yeah, I did search for their phone number, but I'll try again. Google customer service.
Give them another try, because if that profile is still there, you may have to go through the hysterical running around the street trying to find a street sign and running back to your house scenario. But hopefully they'll be able to help you in some way to get around that.
Okay. Yeah, because I did think, should I just try starting one up from scratch? But
if you think the location, I think I probably would have it, because you can go back to the old one and close it, and they will close it down. If it's already been taken down, you won't need to do that.
Yeah, it's down. It's not there at all.
Yeah, then I'd start a new one, because it's much more helpful to you.
And especially now that it's a year ago, they might have sort of archived all my old stuff anyway, wherever they would.
Quite possibly. It might be worth asking them, but I would imagine that long ago they probably won't have it now. But then you start getting into that's your data, and you have a right to have it back. So it might be worth having a chat with them. And
I'll try and find a phone number again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, so carrying on, the other place hopefully that you're going to show up with Google is if you have your website. And this is something I quite like, a bit of website rubbishy stuff. I've always had my own websites. I've always been quite actively involved in building them myself. And I've also always played around with meta tags and SEO and all that kind of stuff. So does everybody know, firstly, does everyone know what SEO is? And yep, hopefully everybody does. So search engine optimization. And nowadays, it's probably one of the most helpful things that you can do to your website is to make sure that you have all your pages optimized. Your meta titles and descriptions are working for you because they will help you come to the top of Google. So for Deco, where you haven't got, where you're mobile, if you have, do you have a website? Yeah. So that will, so as long as if you've got your website really optimized, and you're using the right keywords, and you've used, there's a whole load of stuff that we won't go into today around long tail keywords and lots of stuff like that. But there's ways that you can manipulate what's on your website so that you will become more searchable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's worth having a look at. Yeah, look up long tail keywords. Really fascinating rabbit hole to go down. Yes, so website really, really important. And just as I say, making sure, and one of the things I would really recommend, and it's something that kind of has been there for a really long time that that just kind of gets overlooked a lot, but we should be doing just for diversity alone, is alt text on our photos. So any images that you have on your website, and for some websites, this could be a lot of images, but it's worth taking the time to do it, is to go through. Alt text is there for people that are visually impaired so that it gives a description of what the image contains. So for example, like now, if it was an image of me, it's, you know, female with clear frame glasses on with a blue shirt and a blue like vest top over the top, dark hair, and wearing red nail varnish or something along those lines. And it would be, Sarah Millican is actually brilliant at alt text. But what alt text also does is, because Google trawls it for information. And if you alt text all of your images, it then helps Google rank your website higher, because you are being inclusive, but also it knows what those pictures are and it tries to scan the pictures. But without the text, it doesn't know what your pictures are showing. So if you've got a wonderful picture of you treating a client, you can explain what that image is about. And it's, you know, therapist, and you can use your name or your business name, is providing a whatever service to whatever client, this help, and you can put on there like this helps with insomnia or with hormonal balance or whatever it may be. But use those alt texts because it will help. It's like a kind of, it needs to make sense for visually impaired people, but it's a way of optimizing even deeper. And I honestly, I've been doing this on my stuff, and it's quite, it does make a slight difference to how you get found on Google, because the crawlers will be looking for all of that information, and probably 90% of other websites don't do it. I don't know anybody personally other than Helen Ward on Hair and Beauty Directory, because we're both of a similar mind and we both do this kind of really, really nitpicky stuff. But it's worth doing, even if it's just on your homepage, which is going to be your most trawled page by Google. It's worth just going through the images and putting the alt text on. And you can also do that on social media too.
Sarah,
it's never ending.
Sarah who?
Sarah Millican. The comedian.
Oh, okay.
From Luca. She, whenever she puts a post out, she always alt texts it, even on the post. It's, yeah, she's very, very good at it. Also, online directories are somewhere that you need to be. And this can be as simple as a local online directory. So, you know, if you're like, for me, I'm in Norfolk, so there'll be Untold Norfolk directories or East Anglia directories where you can list your business. And these work on something called backlinks. And this is why these help your website if you have a website. So if you're on an online directory and someone's searching, the online directories are so optimized that they will pull up probably higher than you. So the biggest example in our industry that's been there for a long time, that works in this way, is Treatwell. Obviously, it's a booking platform as well, but it is ultimately a directory of businesses that provide whatever services. And they do that because they're so well optimized. And every time someone clicks you and they click through to your website, it builds you like brownie points with Google. because somebody else's site is linking to your site, and that circle pushes you further up the ranking. Now, just as a little plug for Helen, I don't know if any of you are aware of the Hair and Beauty Directory, but Helen Ward, who's been in industry forever, has created this amazingly powerful platform called the Hair and Beauty Directory, which is not a booking platform, but it is a platform for you to showcase your business on that is already outperforming Treatwell in many of the areas of the things that she's got on there. And I won't go into it because this isn't about Helen, but do go and have a look at it, because what she does, and if you search, trying to think what you can search for me, something like Sue Davies, I can't think what she's got me under, like business coach, client experience or something like that. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I come up on the Hair and Beauty Directory, and it will literally drag your website. And my website for that's this side of my world is still not getting loads of hits. So the fact that I can now be more easily found as a result of being on her directory means I'll get more traffic to my website, more traffic to my socials, more traffic to my world. And so we have to kind of think about using the directories. Helen's one is a paid for, same way as like Treatwell is paid for via commission, but you also have so many local ones that are going to be free. So do make the most of them. Go find all your local directories. Mostly all you want to put on there is like a bio and links to your whatever they allow you to put links on, and just and it's like a one-time thing you need to do. So go have a look. Social media is something, again, that we all mostly probably hate it to a large degree because it's so time consuming, and also, I mean, the way you were saying about having your Google profile taken down, how many people, just in the last week, I think I've seen 3 people lose their profiles or be hacked, and it's becoming an ever increasing problem. And it's something that if you lost your account tomorrow, can you still promote your business, is a question that we all need to be asking ourselves. And I think that we need to have alternatives, email lists being the prime example of what we need to be building. And there's so many ways that you can do that through client forms on your website, so that when they land on your website, you can get them to sign up for a newsletter and capture their data. And so that is going to be so important. Mark Zuckerberg and Meta have changed the rules recently to make social media just such an unpleasant place, and where the changes are starting to see. And unfortunately, I have seen twice already hardcore porn in a Facebook group that someone's been spamming and just putting that in there, and they won't take it down because it's freedom of speech, and they won't remove it. So as an aside, one of the other things I do is Inspiring Salon Professionals podcast, and on there, we've just set the date actually this morning, about an hour ago, we finally got the date confirmed, 18th of March, we're going to be hosting I've never done this, Louise, hosting a live podcast on Clubhouse, so that everyone can come along and actually interact in the podcast. It's going to be mad. And there's going to be a panel of 5 of us that are going to be hosting how to promote your business away from social media. Anyway,
excellent. You have to let me know and I'll promote that for you.
Yeah, honestly, I know.
Was still a thing, but brilliant.
Well, no, exactly, but it is, and and it works so perfectly to do this because people can be in the audience and the panel can be on stage, and we can bring people up and whatever. So it works really, really well. But 18th of March, 12 noon is going to be the date for it. It's taken about a month to get that date. Honestly, it's been such hard work. But the other thing that you can do of visibility is your local advertising and your local network. So local networking groups, schools, nurseries, all of those places that we all kind of know where our clients are going to hang out. So just make sure collaborative business partnerships and stuff like that, to make sure if you've got like a florist down the road from you, for Mother's Day, you could offer a massage when someone's buying flowers for their mum. Lots of things like that are going to really, really help. So the most important place to be visible, you may already have gained from how I talk about Google, it is going to be Google. There is obviously many places that you can advertise yourself, you can be visible, and here's a selection of them. And you'll see on here, we do have the Apple Business Connect logo as well. But do bear in mind that Pinterest and YouTube are also search engines. And if you have the time, inclination, and ability, it is worth having a look at these. I use YouTube. My podcast is on YouTube, so I do have a presence on YouTube. But Pinterest is something I'm only just starting to kind of have a look at. I've never really looked at it because the only time I look at it is to find when I'm doing something in the house and I want a kitchen refurbishment idea. But Pinterest as a business promotional thing, it's a search engine. So it will come up. When people start searching, you will be able to have a presence on there. As I say, I am like not even a novice at Pinterest at the moment, other than a user for my own projects. But do have a look at it if you fancy doing something different. And just a little bit of stats. Google consistently is 90% of the market is where people go for Google, like for their search engines. And as much as YouTube and Pinterest are there, Google is predominantly the biggest holder of information in the whole world, as we know. And that suggests that all of our clients are going to be searching there first. Because we know if we're going to search for anything, generally the first place we go is Google. Sometimes you may, if you know that there's something local that you might have seen, you might look for them on social media somewhere. But generally, we are going to look for a business service on Google. And Google helps you increase your visibility. It helps your business appear in local searches and on Google Maps, as we've already discovered. And it will make it easier for potential clients and even existing clients who may have lost your details to re-find you. It does give you enhanced credibility through reviews and ratings. And we all know the importance of, and actually how much stock we hold in those 5 stars. 5 stars, amazing, but 4.7 is still quite amazing too. And negative reviews are always an opportunity, in my mind. But it also allows, because if people are searching you on Google and immediately they can just go hit the call button, they've removed so many steps of clicks. And we all know the less clicks we are making as someone that's looking for a service, the more likely we are to interact and connect with that person. So there's question and answer features on Google, and you can message directly as well. And you can also have your booking system on there, so they can literally just hit schedule and book a treatment with you, which saves them having to go from Google onto your website, onto your services page, into your booking system. And already you've taken out probably at least 3 steps of the process by having your booking system on Google or on Apple Business Connect. It also, as we say, will help with local SEO and put you on the map. It is free. And I think that we can obviously pay for Google ads, which can be very expensive, but as a solo business, generally you really don't need to. It is free. And when you use Google, you can, just in my home clinic, which I really don't advertise, I probably do, I think this week is going to be my busiest week. I've got 3 clients and I don't want it to be big, but I'm still getting inquiries all the time from Google. And just this last week, I've had 2 people that are new to me booked from Google, and I'm not even trying. I'm literally trying not to do it, but they still keep coming, which is good. But also what Google does, if you're a bit of a data cruncher, you will get the most amazing amount of insights from Google. And so you can test things as well. Like if you 1 month, it's going to be like your wellness month, you can put loads of posts and stuff onto Google that will demonstrate, yes, we're doing wellness this month. And then the next time you might want to have we're going to have a reflexology month. And so you can start seeing how the public react to you. And while I make use the word public, there's a website that many people aren't aware of called Ask the Public. And that is where you can start picking up all of this information about how you can word your posts and word your descriptions of your business so that you start hitting what the public are asking for. So seriously, askthepublic.com. But you can then, through the insights and analytics, you can work out how your business works and what works for you, and to gain more people coming into your business and more warm leads, because that's what you want. All of this is about generating warm leads and finding the place where your ideal client, who should be warm to you, is going to find you. Okay, so where do we start? here's the address. If you haven't done Google Business Profile, is there anybody here at the moment that has not done Google Business Profile at all?
Looks good. Can't see any thumbs up.
Oh, no, wonderful. Okay, so that's good. So everybody should know this address then. That's great. So this is my very underused, what do we call it? My very underused business profile. I do have it fully written up and optimized and all the rest of it, but I at the moment, because I'm trying to focus on a lot of other things, I am not pushing myself on Google. But as I say, I'm still finding a lot of people come to me. So you will see, and if you're used to this already, then I'm kind of preaching to the converted already. So you can see where I am, and you can see the wonderful thing I like about this is that you get to see all of the other local businesses around you. So you can see who possibly may be up for collaboration. And I think my Scotsfield pork butchers are probably not going to be my ideal collaborator. But Artichoke Clothing Shop, and I have been and done a bit of stalking on her, and she's got a really lovely website, and she just sells clothing for ladies of a certain age, and she'd be an absolutely brilliant collaboration for me. The only difficulty with her is that she is a national based, she's an online sales, so she doesn't have a large local community, but she could still be quite useful for me because I do hypnotherapy, which is a remote service. So it could be quite good for me still to have her there. And you'll see, if you haven't fully completed your profile, you will see there's always like, this is my view of it. But you get overview, reviews, and the about section. People can take directions, they can save you and bookmark you, so you go into their favorites effectively. They can also see what's nearby, they can send the information to their phone, and they can share you with their friends, which is a really important thing for them to be able to do. Also, you get the wonderful street view, so they can come along and look at your premises, which will help build likability and trust, and also credibility to make sure that you are a real person and that you're not a catfish of some kind, because nobody really wants that, do they? Let's face it. So the 5-star thing, I touched on that a moment ago, and I would say I'm fortunately in a position currently to have 5 stars, but in my previous business, in my salon that I used to have, we had 2 negative reviews over the 10 years that I was open. One was from a guy who, after 2 or 3 years, I think he was, decided to come back and just write on my Google review, expensive. And that was the only word he did. And he just put 3 stars. And then I had somebody else who experienced a hyperpigmentation issue after microdermabrasion, but mainly because she'd gone out in the sun, having been warned not to. And both of those we dealt with in a really positive way, non-aggressively and very professionally. And I think sometimes it kind of really helps people to see who the business is, and that you are a professional and that you don't go on there ranting and shouting at them. And I think sometimes it gives people more of an insight into your business than 5 stars glowing reports all the time, because although they are fantastic, and I know so many people get really upset, and I know when I first had that 3-star, I think I might actually have cried, but it was because I was devastated, and especially 2 or 3 years after he'd been was just rude. But I responded very professionally to him in a way that left nobody in any false pretenses of how professional I was, and that we work to, you know, people know what our prices are before they pay them, and there's never any surprises, and he made the choice to come to us. So anyway, that is the reviews. So then going further into this, and I kind of want you to just have a little bit of a look and see all the red dots, and just try and remember a couple of the other names, because this is the Google Business or Google Maps with the businesses on, and you'll see I'm currently 2nd on the list there without trying particularly, but that's because I have fully optimized my profile. My friend who owns Self Transformation, lovely like new age therapist who's not too far away from me, and you'll see her just across the main road from me, but you won't see her when we get to Apple, and there's quite a few of these that you will not see when we get to Apple. So have a look and see who's there now. And also you can see on the right is what my page looks like, where I'm using my kind of social feed that also comes with Google. Now, has everybody on here, if you can just raise a hand so we can see, has everybody used their Google feed that you get? Has everybody posted photos and put comments and images on there, or videos or anything?
I have got images, but I have no idea how to add posts.
So you can, when you put photos on, when you go to your Google profile, there's an area where you can actually put information. You can post offers, you can post discounts, you can post coupons, you can put videos and images on, and you can actually use it like a social media feed, which is what you're seeing on the screen here. So you can see a few of my reviews, a little bit from me, and then also I've got 2 posts on there that kind of promote my business very much in the same way that you would on social media. So it's a way of, again, hitting algorithms and hitting keywords and all of that kind of stuff that Google loves. It gives them something else to trawl for your business. And so it's worth incorporating. As I say, like, this is the last time I posted on mine was the 2nd of January, because I'm really trying very hard not to go on there and do it, because I don't want to get overwhelmed with clients at the moment, because I'm focusing on other things. But it's a really, really amazing way. So if you're doing your weekly posting on Facebook and Instagram or wherever you post, even if you only do this once a month, it will help your Google presence massively. So have a little look on it. As I said, I am about to put together a whole big course on this, because I talk about it quite a lot. And I think it would be really helpful for people to have like a proper process to walk through the steps. So it is all there. You can find it on Google, and you can put photos. I'm sure there's like question and answer sections. There is so much on there that we don't use fully. And I have tried to use, it might be worth having a look at mine. If you go to mine, and you can see what mine looks like, because mine is quite filled out. I don't think there's much anything left to fill out on mine. So then you can see here, I mean, I'm sure if you're all on business profile already, you kind of know what this looks like. You will have already filled that out. But if you haven't looked into your insights and your analytics, this is what they look like. You can see just since in 4 months, without me doing anything, I've had 166 interactions of varying kinds. Weirdly, lots of direction requests, but where I'm quite rural, I think sometimes that acts against me because I'm a bit out of the way. But you can see whether people are clicking through to your website, whether people are actually making the opportunity to call you, and so on. So now to Apple, slightly newer kid on the block, Apple Business Connect. And this is something that Apple, I don't think, have actually promoted at all. I stumbled across it last year in the summer when I was resetting my home clinic up. And it's just a bit mad, really, because I have never seen them promote it. So if you think back to that map we were looking at a moment ago, where I said, please try and remember some of the businesses, you'll see most of them do not register on Apple at all. So you can see me, and I'm there. The Remedy Room is there. But other than that, I don't believe there are any of those other businesses. And so there's a massive, massive gap. And I'm not going to lie, Apple is technically on some levels easier, but on other levels, they have really strict guidance on photo sizes and quality and all that kind of stuff. And so everything has to be less than 512 megabytes. So you have to do a bit of playing around on Canva with your images, which I did find frustrating. But once I'd done a few, I knew what I was doing. So I just used the same settings on Canva. But there's nobody on there. And I think Apple own something like 50%, 50% of the phone market in the UK, which means that a huge number of the people that are on their iPhone are using Apple Maps to search for businesses. And none of us are really on there. So it just seems like a really mad thing to not utilize this. I am still finding my way with it. As I say, I started using this last year, and you can see here, at the moment, I'm top of the list because I've searched massage therapy near me, and obviously it's going to take me as my point of reference. So doing this incognito may give me a slightly different answer. But you see, like, and I, just as an example, I am 22 miles from King's Lynn, which is number 4 on the list. Or sorry, 16 miles. I thought I was 22 miles, 16 miles away from King's Lynn. But that's one of the nearer ones coming up. So there is a massive opportunity on here for us to market our businesses. You'll see on the right-hand side here, this is what my version of it looks like. So where I'm updating everything. And on the far right is what it looks like to customers. So you can see it's very, very similar to Google, but there's just not as many people on there. And when there's not as many people on there, that means it's primed for us to take advantage of that. So again, they also, rather than having where I was saying about the Google feed, they have a thing called showcases. And here, so like on here, you can see mine that I've got on there at the moment, which is putting women's wellbeing first. And it's just a little bit on there about taking time out for your mind and body, self-care, and it is just mentioning, little bits and little keywords that people may be looking for. You can make these showcases last for a set period of time. So you might want to do something that's just like a monthly offer. You might want to do something that is there all the time, which is what I've kind of left this there. So this is going to be there for about 10 months. And again, people can go on, they can find more information. They'll be able to connect with you, do calls and schedule appointments with you because you can link your booking system to it again. So it does everything that Google does, but just in Apple's own little way. And again, they do have data analytics as well. Mine are really quite shoddy at the moment because I haven't done anything with it since I set it up. But as I say, a lot of that reason is because I'm not trying to promote this business at the moment, but I'm just using this as a guide for you so you can kind of see what they look like. So basically that is basically what Apple Connect does. So it is exactly the same as Google, but just in an Apple format. And the thing that I wanted to stress today, really, that these do for you is they do give you an instant visibility for instant connections for your clients, and that gives them instant access to you and your business. And I think that in today's world is so important because the less clicks we can give our clients, the better. And if the information that's there is up to date and current and factual, then you're being transparent with them and showing them exactly who you are as a professional, which I think is really, really important. Anyway, so that's really everything I wanted to talk to you about today. I do an ideal client workbook where you can kind of catch up with who your demographic are and how you connect with them, which is quite an interesting workbook. And there's a QR code on the screen there, which you'll be able to catch later. Or if you want to screenshot it now, if you're interested in taking part in that. And there's my QR code so that you can connect with me. I am on all the socials. I am kind of everywhere, really. And but I would stress, listen, if you can catch up with the podcast, there's some amazing episodes on there at the moment. I think I'm 85 episodes in as of this morning. And there's like the one today is all about Google and Apple. Last week's one was all about GDPR. There are a lot of long form ones at the moment. And the GDPR one is 2 hours long, but it was needed because there was so much stuff. And if you're going to listen to that one, get a notebook and pen. I've had so many people message me going, I didn't have a notebook, because there's some really, really fascinating information on there that I learned, and I thought I knew everything about GDPR that I needed to know. So I would strongly recommend listening to it and having a pen and notebook with you, because Robin, who I'm talking to, shares some updates that I had not been aware of. And and I think it's just a really interesting thing to kind of keep on top of, because if we aren't on top of it, we can obviously get fined. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and hopefully you found that interesting. I know, like, we're probably teaching people to suck eggs a little bit with Google, but hopefully people have found that useful and a new understanding of what Apple can do for your business too.